anytime. But also imagine that every other person had the same ability. Your neighbor, your parents, your kids, your coworkers, your friends, and total strangers. What if we could all access every piece of data, live or recorded, at will? In this book, I'm going to make the case that a world without privacy would be the optimum outcome. All data, everywhere, known to everyone. It's disconcerting. On a very personal level, I don't like the feeling I get when I consider this idea, and I think most people feel the same way. But rationally, using objective reason instead of emotional reaction, it makes much more sense than the ultimate, unobtainable goal of every individual having total control of information. And it is absolutely preferable to the bizarre patchwork of information disparity we currently have, where certain people and institutions have access to particular information, others have access to different sets of information, and each individual person has only limited glimpses of the whole. The purpose of privacy. To begin with, it's good to dissect why this idea makes us feel uncomfortable. Why do we want, or think we want, or say we want privacy? For the most part, we think privacy will give us security. The two words are often used together, sometimes mistakenly synonymously. For most of my life, I've worked in industries where the collection, distribution, and protection of information was valuable: the military, journalism, teaching, and computer security. For security practitioners, one of the fundamental premises is called the triad of security goals: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality: only authorized people can get access. Integrity: only authorized transactions are allowed. Availability: the asset exists when authorized people are authorized to make transactions. From this perspective, privacy is usually perceived as an aspect of confidentiality. Individual people want control of the confidentiality of information that identifies them. And confidentiality isn't used just for personal privacy. It's used to secure data and assets in all types of activities, organizations, and business. We've depended on confidentiality as part of our effort to attain security for so long that it's hard to imagine being secure without it. It's a cornerstone of the security profession. But it's not necessary. In fact, confidentiality often inhibits security. For example, one of the desires we have about privacy is to protect ourselves financially. We don't want anyone else knowing our bank account information or the credentials we use to access the account: passwords, identification cards, bits of information like name and address and birth date, etc. Banks spend a lot of money protecting these credentials, and we expend effort creating and maintaining them. All of this effort has a financial cost, which negatively impacts the financial benefit of the process and investment. Every amount the bank spends on securing the transaction is an amount charged to the customer, either through direct fees or in reduced interest on the investment. You would make more money with your account if security wasn't an additional cost of the process. This is all to prevent fraudulent transactions, someone pretending to be you in order to get your money. But this can happen only because the criminal has privacy. If all of the information about all of the transactions, legitimate and fraudulent, is known to everyone, then there's no opportunity for theft. If the bank knew when someone other than you tried to take your money, the bank would not give the money to that person. If every action of every person is known to every other person, no transaction fraud could exist. A criminal can't engage in theft by fraud if we all know what the criminal is doing and who the criminal is. Total transparency, then, directly counters the need for confidentiality and improves the lives of everyone involved, because we no longer have the costs associated with the need for confidentiality, and we can all then derive the greater benefits. Going to extremes. Take this to an even greater extreme and get weird with it. Why do we even have banks? Again, it's perceived need for security.